Welcome back to the morning show here on Analysed News. Joining us now is Ogio with stories trending around the world. Thank God it's Friday.
G-I-F. You know how excited
Hello,
I get on Fridays. How are you? You are
Good.
more excited than I am. I know there's Owambe this weekend. You're legendary for that these days. Good morning, our favorite Naija wife. You know I have to do that on Fridays.
I know you must. You must. Ready for the weekend? Even though it was a short week, but it feels like it was long.
For me, it was long because I was in bed for 2 days.
Oh,
ill.
sorry.
Good morning, Rufai on fire. How are you this morning?
I'm happy you're back.
Perfect.
Bless you.
Thank you so much.
Bless you.
Very well, thank you. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending. The failed attempt to recall Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan, the senator representing Kogi Central from the Nigerian Senate, has been met with reactions. The Independent National Electoral Commission stated on Thursday that the recall petition did not meet the constitutional requirements because the number of constituents who signed the petition fell short of 50% of the registered voters in her senatorial district. INEC, however, maintained that the Constitution does not limit the number of times a lawmaker can be recalled. Well, in a Facebook post, Natasha described the development as a victory and dedicated it to Nigerians. Let's take Natasha's post on Facebook. She wrote, "On God, it's victory for the people of Nigeria. One battle down, 2 more to go. Deep gratitude to my beloved husband, awesome support team, magnificent people of Kogi Central, and the great people of Nigeria at large. INEC Nigeria, you did well." Well, in the meantime, Senator Akpoti Uduaghan has dared the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, to press charges over the death threat allegation she levied against him during her rally in Kogi State on Tuesday. Well, Natasha spoke on live television saying that her utmost priority is to remain alive. Let's take a look.
What is important to me is to stay alive, because dead men tell no tales. And God forbid, if I had not come out, and if I don't speak about this, and something happens, and they succeed in their plan, how again, like, I tell you, there were actually three conversations that happened that day. I spoke only about 2. The third one was quite minute, which is that they should prepare to field in someone who will, just in case I want to contest in 2027, some strong person who will clinch the ticket from me during the primaries. That's the third part of it. The first was my recall. The second was to eliminate me. The third was to put in someone who would take the ticket from me in 2027 if I want to contest. So if you are doubting the recall that we just experienced, are you getting my point?
Are you able to prove this? That's the point. I mean, anyone can make an allegation, but the issue is, are you able to prove it when it comes to it?
Let us get to that bridge. I'm hearing that the Senate President wants to sue me for that. I will tell him to go ahead. We'll meet and we'll cross that bridge.
All right. Natasha Akpoti here, Senator Natasha. She has maintained that her allegations are valid, basically saying that she will provide evidence if the need arises. Well, in the meantime, talking about this recall process, a group under the aegis of the coalition of Kogi Central Concerned Citizens have thanked INEC for validating over 208,000 signatures in their recall petition against Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan, viewing it as proof that the majority of voters in the district have abandoned her, despite falling short of the required threshold. The group maintained that they remain committed to the recall process and accused Natasha of misconduct and divisiveness. They also vowed to pursue the process within constitutional guidelines and demanded transparency from INEC. Our favorite Naija wife, this group, they are not giving up. When I read the statement, I actually laughed for a moment. They don't agree for anybody. What actually is going on here? I'd like for you to tie in all the stories together, especially that video I played earlier of Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan maintaining that her allegations are valid.
Okay, so Wow, where do we begin? Let's begin with the 208,000 plus signatures. Yeah. We've just finished a conversation with the Director of Education and Publicity for INEC, Mrs. Victoria Eta Messi. And she said that those 200, they had not reached the stage of verifying signatures yet. So those that are celebrating that, oh, but they still got 208,000. No, it's not that that was authenticated. They didn't even get to that stage because they already saw that if it were that they were to vet the 208,000, the number wouldn't even be enough anyway. So let's first put that to bed. Now, secondly, with regards to her providing evidence and so forth, I think what everybody wants is for Natasha to follow this process and to follow it through to the very end. She knows her strategy. She knows what her advisors have put together and how they are guiding her. So we are all anticipating when this evidence will drop, because everybody has been shouting evidence.
Yes.
So we are all anticipating for that day when she decides that this is the correct platform and the correct medium, whether it's in the court of law, whether it's on the Senate floor, we don't know. But we're waiting. Those who support her and even those who are against her, we're waiting for that almighty evidence to drop. Now, very quickly, her poster, 2027 and beyond, has gotten people talking.
Yes.
Is she running? And she mentioned in that interview, she was asked, is it that you have gubernatorial ambitions now? And she said, well, if she were to run against Ododo and Yahaya Bello combined, she would beat them.
Yes.
On that ticket.
Yes.
So interesting to see the development of her political career until 2027 and beyond, because this entire debacle has given her a new level of visibility that, you know, only these types of situations can give you, unplanned, spontaneous. And she said she lives in the now, she lives in the moment.
Yes.
So let's see where it goes. Could she be our first female governor?
Who knows?
Elected governor?
I like your question, Vimbai. And Rufai, I don't know if you watched that interview. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But, you know, she also, towards the end of the interview, said that she doesn't mind a political solution. I mean, it kind of, gives that illusion or, impression that she might want to actually run. And who knows? She's actually quite popular in Kogi State. Rufai.
So if Senator Akpoti runs for governor, this is not going to be the first time. She's actually been a candidate and she did run for governor.
Yes, she did.
In Kogi State under SDP. I remember, in fact, that was the first time we met her and we brought her on this platform. I will remember how she was treated, how she was pushed around, how she was hurt. And we remember the inhumanity that went on. And we remember the perpetrators of that action. We remember those elections in Kogi. We haven't forgotten. And you see, that was what helped her to get the appeal she's now getting, because a lot of people feel that it doesn't speak good of our society that people should be treated this way. In that interview, she said that the helicopter idea, which seems to have caught up with a lot of, the Gen Z generation and people in general, was her husband's idea. And I like the fact that she did, pay tribute, to her husband. Because in all of this, Alema is a real he for she. It takes a brave man to cut off his own business ties with a man that he had a lot of business ties with, that Senator Akpabio, to be able to stand and support his wife. Some men might not be that nice. They'll throw you under the bus sharp, sharp.
Yes.
But thank you so much for standing by your wife.
Yeah. Then
she went ahead to grieve in precise details the meetings that were held and the things that were said. Does she have weaknesses and can she substantiate with evidence? Because she didn't miss words. In fact, she even talked about the time those meetings were held.
Yes.
What we'll reiterate is, please, nothing must happen to Natasha. She must be safe. Then she went ahead, to talk about the fact that she's done nothing wrong, that even the suspension was illegal in the first place, which, yes, she has a point, because the courts did stall that suspension, but they went ahead against the courts. Then she went ahead to talk about the plots. As a politician here, she would say she would beat Yahaya Bello and Ododo. We've not tested that in an election. I wouldn't stretch that.
All right.
Yahaya Bello is Ododo is the incumbents. So we won't test that. But she's quite popular and her people have come out. But the fact that we're talking about how women are treated in politics in 2025 when this democracy we all enjoy today was fought for by women like Gambusa Waba, speaks volumes of how we have gone down in our social and civic life in this country, and that we must change.
Well said. I mean, speaking to her popularity, Dr. Abbati, before I come to you, in the meantime, Senator Akpoti Uduaghan on Thursday launched the construction of a free maternity and child care center in Kogi State, set to be completed in 4 months. Well, according to her, the 20-bed facility will include 2 delivery rooms, an ICU center, and staff quarters to ensure round-the-clock medical care. Highlighting the unique challenges of pregnancy, Natasha stressed the need for accessible healthcare, especially in rural areas. She was received by a group of women who sang a special song in her honor. Let's take a look. I mean, I love that song, Natasha. I mean, she is actually... I don't know how to sing it, but I like it. Nata, what does it say?
I don't know it. I think it's a local Iberian language.
I love it. I love it. But you know, Natasha's been doing so well for her constituents. I mean, beyond this, initiative, she's done so much. I went through her Facebook post, and I was in awe with everything that she's been doing. I mean, only recently, she gave out food, she gave out supplies, and we're seeing that she's continuing to engage with her group. I mean, only yesterday we talked about this woman who died because there was not enough facility or an emergency care center. She was pregnant and she couldn't get to a good clinic in time, or she couldn't pay 500,000 naira. But we're seeing Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan here. You can talk about that. Go ahead, Dr. Abbati.
Okay, the key issue before us is the recall process in Kogi Central and the announcement made by INEC yesterday. So I'll restrict myself to the subject, not 2027 election. That's not what we're discussing. Now, with specific regard to this, INEC has said the recall process with regard to Senator Akpoti Uduaghan did not meet the constitutional requirement. And before now, INEC had made it clear that its only guidance, the only thing guiding it is the law, as provided for in the Constitution, in its own guidelines and regulations, and also in the Electoral Act. On the basis of that, INEC had previously announced that addresses were not given. Addresses, the particulars of the constituents who signed the petition of recall were then later provided. And the INEC has done a review, and they have now said, well, this doesn't get to the threshold of 50% plus 1. And we had Mrs. Etta Mercy on this program, who said, well, what they have done so far is to just follow the law because they are not partisan in the matter. And I find it instructive that a lot of people have commended INEC for not being partisan, even when we tried to probe the director of voter education. She insisted that that's what they have done, following the law. I hope the same people who are praising INEC at this time will find cause to be fair to INEC when, the outcome of the process by INEC does not meet expectations. Number 2 is about the possible security implications of this. The group of concerned Kogi Central constituents that you have mentioned, they are saying that they will liaise with INEC and conduct another recall process. Well, the last time it happened, there was a lot on social media about people filling forms, about people signing and all that. This time around, I think all of us should be concerned about security in Kogi Central. Because this time around, if anybody goes there again, they organize any event, the supporters of of Senator Natasha Akpoti and even our agents, I don't think they are going to fold their arms. So, the security agencies must be prepared to ensure that there's no breakdown of law and order in Kogi Central on account of attempts by some persons to say they will start this process of recall de novo. Number 3 is the issue that I posed to Mrs. Etamesi about the deficiencies in the Nigerian Constitution. How is it so easy in this country for a governor to be removed? You just quote Section 305, you will say there is a declaration of state of emergency, a sole administrator will be appointed, and then, it's a done deal. But to remove a lawmaker, either at the House of Assembly or House of Reps, through the process of recall, is a very cumbersome, difficult process. That is a question that we can look at again. But as Mrs. Etamesi pointed out in our conversation with her, it is the responsibility of the same legislature to do something about that. Now, what's the 4th point? Is the interview that you showed, Mrs. Senator, Akpoti Uduahan speaking on Channels TV with Seun Okunbalue. Now, she says, at the right time and the right space,
yes, she
will provide evidence. Well, this is a matter of urgent national importance. We hope that that right time and that right space, will not be too long in coming, because, this subject has divided Nigerians.
Yes, it has.
Politically, emotionally,
absolutely,
and, several dimensions have been attached to this issue. Issue about sexual harassment, which she alleges, about victimization and discrimination in the National Assembly. I think we need to know more, because at the moment there's a lot of speculation, there's a lot of, emotional interventions depending on which side of the problem you stand. I think Nigerians, we must insist, we want to know.
Absolutely.
Whatever is hidden should be exposed, so that we will have a better understanding of the sociology of power at the highest level of the National Assembly.
Well said, Dr. Abbati. I mean, in that interview, she reiterated that she's a lawyer, and so she knows what's coming. We'll follow up on that. Well, in another development, Godswill Akpabio's aide, SMA Eyibo, has refuted claims made by former lawmaker representing Adamawa North, Elisha Aibo, who claimed on live television on Wednesday that Akpabio was responsible for his removal from the Senate. Among other allegations, Aibo stated that Aibo was removed via a court ruling and that Akpabio respects the independence of the judiciary. He also pointed out that Aibo had previously retracted similar accusations, acknowledging that they were based on faulty information. Well, here is Elisha Aibo, when he appeared on Newsnight in 2023, apologizing to Godswill Akpabio.
I am a very honest man. My apology is because I am convinced that he's not involved. And for many Nigerians that followed me over the years, they don't know me as a person that says something because he wants to benefit from something. No, I don't do that. My apology to him is because I am deeply convinced, and I've said earlier, that after he made that discussion yesterday, after he said A, B, C, and D, and I swear on my mother's grave, my hand is not there, I felt sorry. And why I said that yesterday was, like I said before, the available intelligence at our disposal yesterday before further intelligence trickled in.
All right, Dr. Abbati, I just wanted to quickly unpack this. I know we had a debate behind the scenes whether I was removed by court or not. But here in this video, he said he's a very honest man. And that, he swears on his mom. Did he say that, Dr. Abbati, really quickly so we can just... Okay,
very quickly. The story is that when he was removed by order of court as the elected senator for Adamawa North on the platform of the APC and replaced with, I think, Senator Johanna, of the PDP. At that time, he had said that, Senator Akpabio had a hand in it. But he later went back to Newsnight. And there was also a story, I think, on 18th October 2023 in Punch, newspaper stating clearly that he had apologized to Senator Akpabio, he had reversed himself. Now, 2 years later, the same Senator Elisha Abo returns to repeat the offense and say that, oh, it was Akpabio that told him that 5 senators would be removed and that he was one of the persons, you know. And then, is it that he had a change of mind? Is it that this is a case, as I pointed out yesterday, of vendetta, opportunism, expediency, as politicians say? But I don't want to speak for Senator Akpabio. Honorable SMA Iyibo, who is a spokesperson for Senator Akpabio, has already issued a statement that is in the public domain to remind him of the apology that he had offered to the Senate President in 2023. And that what is he now saying? You know, something he had apologized for, now he's saying another thing. But politicians, you know, they tell you expediency can explain anything, you know, but that should not be how it is. We should be able to respect what people say, trust them for what they say, more so that he says he's a very honest man.
He's a very honest
man. What does this say about honesty?
Well, I think, did you want to say something? Because you were saying something behind
I wanted to say something.
Yeah, quickly.
I condemn Elisha Abo, and I think he flips flop a lot. And I think, apart from this reaction, the Akpabio team should take him on, even legally, as regards this. But the Nigerian, I know, and this was the point I was trying to make to Dr. Abbati, when two people have a political impasse, especially somebody in the higher capacity, and because you have been with a lot of politicians, I've also been with a lot of politicians, you know, talking to them. And they have a back and forth, and the first person goes on there to say some things the first day. In the process of settlement, that same other politician can call him and say, go back on air and reverse all what you said. Maybe we might negotiate after you go and repair my character that you went to destroy on air. And they will promise you largesse. So that can also be the case that maybe because whatever I was promised was not large. I'm not saying that's the case that applies here. I'm saying in other instances I've seen it with politicians.
All right, Rufai, at that time.
In this case, it's speculative. Because Akpabio, even as Senate President, was not in a position to overrule a validly constituted court of the Federal Republic. What could Akpabio have done? To overrule the court?
Changing his mouth, Abi. Well, at that time, he said... Rufai,
could he have overruled the court? Yes.
Wait. But you remember at that time...
No, with what authority will he overrule the court and return Elisha to the Senate?
You and I, when we get off air, we'll talk this matter.
No wahala.
And you are laughing because...
No.
I know.
We'll
talk about this matter off air.
All right.
This is about procedure.
I know procedure. We talk procedure for TV.
Rufai, all right. Well, you know, at that time, Elisha Abo has said that he believed Akpabio so much that Akpabio had even was swearing on his mother's grave. So at that time, he really, really believed Akpabio. So I don't know what changed at this point. Okay. We'll take another story now. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, has expressed his displeasure over the recent closure of the Independence Bridge in Lagos, which left many Lagosians stranded for several hours on Wednesday. He stated that he was not informed of the closure and directed the immediate reopening of the bridge. Let's take a look.
I was not informed. The controller did that on her own, and it's very unfortunate because for a bridge to be closed, especially in Lagos, as you know, has been the tradition, I should be informed as the minister, and we should also have studied the implication of it, even though it's an emergency situation. We would have deployed emergency evaluation of the implication of closing the bridge. Was there any other thing we would have done? And then while we take time to do the proper work. And so I use the opportunity to warn all controllers and engineers all over the country, never you close the road or close any bridge without running it through the PAM Secretary, who will seek for the permission from the Honorable Minister of Works. And so there will be consequences, disciplinary action for this. And so let me apologize to Lagosians and to Mr. President for the trouble this closure, caused the entire Lagosians and, of course, the nation.
Well, this was quite confusing for a lot of Lagosians, especially those that suffered in the traffic. I know you did, Vimbai. I don't know about you, but I believe the bridge is not open. You're saying it will be opened on Sunday. He promised Sunday. But meanwhile, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has also apologized to residents for the severe traffic congestion caused by the closure of the Independence Bridge for essential repairs. He acknowledged the hardship faced by Lagosians and took responsibility for the situation, noting that better communication could have reduced the impact. He also urged commuters to plan accordingly and to think out of the box. Let's take a look.
And so one of the things that I would also be advising a lot of our citizens is that this kind of thing has also happened, in another form. Let's think out of the box. Let us now know that if you don't have a business to do in Victoria Land in the next 2 to 3 weeks, conduct your business via social media, via telephone, via meetings, Zoom meetings and online meetings, and plan ahead, so that if you don't need to come and visit somebody here, please, you don't have to come, right? If you don't have a meeting that you must, ensure that it needs your physical presence, think out of the box. It was something similar that we have had during COVID, where you can have restricted movement in some part of the area for just, a couple of weeks and be able to plan your journey time and be able to, and see what are the alternatives.
All right, so Olu here urging Lagosians to think out of the box. Really, you need to plan your commute. Vimbai.
Think out of the box after the fact. As much as the apology was appreciated, a lot of people felt it was medicine after death, because thinking out of the box is what should have happened before the closure. So that I saw some people coming out on X, actually, creating designs of how traffic could have been detoured and diverted, and all different ways and strategies that what we saw on Wednesday could have been averted. Anyway, we've been told to think out of the box. Don't come to the island if you don't have to. We're pro-development. We are pro-infrastructure. In this case, this particular bridge, many of us didn't even know that this bridge is called Independence Bridge. Now we know why, because without it, we are actually stripped of our freedom and independence. But many people voted issue around that. But when we start being